Welcome to Transform Now, a podcast focused on intelligent automation and brought to you by SS&C Blue Prism. On this program, we talk about how organizations globally are rethinking the way they operate, utilizing process orchestration and AI-enabled digital workers to free up humans to do the work that matters most. We also share insights and tips on how you can embrace this new way of working and unleash your full potential. Let's get into the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Transform Now podcast. I'm Michael Marchuk, and this episode is an encore presentation of a live broadcast we did at the BP Live event in New York City with Lowe and Wonderbotz. Because it was live and in a crowded hall during a break, some of the audio may be a bit faint, but the content is fantastic. Enjoy this encore presentation of our BP Live interview.
Hey everyone, welcome to Transform Now, live here in New York City in Times Square. Today, I've got Paula and Harish with me. Paula is from Wonderbotz. Harish is from Lowe, and we're going to be talking all about your program going there. How are you doing, Harish?
I'm good. How are you?
We're really excited to be here.
I am very excited that you are here.
Thanks so much for having us.
Oh, it's great to have you here. So, Harish, I want to start with you. Tell us a little bit more about how some of the areas you started with, and how an organization like you adapts to automation.
So that's a great question, right? When we started our program a couple of years back, we focused on a particular business line. We started small. We were able to show value pretty quickly. And from then on, we were able to scale pretty rapidly. The thing with big box retail is once you identify where you want to focus in terms of value, it gets a little easier. So where we have volume is with SKUs. So if you follow the value stream of SKUs from the time somebody makes a decision to buy a product to the time it's sold, and you identify the friction points in between, then you're able to solve for those friction points, right? Either from friction points from a customer experience perspective or from an employee perspective. And that actually really helped us identify those high value cases, the big bets, and was able to drive value.
That makes sense. So Paula, obviously, as a vendor coming in, you help them drive some of the value. Tell us a little bit more about what you did.
Well, so when you have a client this smart, it makes it very, very easy. So they did the jump for us. But really, it's about having the clients, and in this case, they identified where the volume was for the challenge to solve. And it was really just partnering on, well, what's next, right? Because when you get into the program, there's a lot of the do-its that have to get done. And then as the tasks are going, you also have to be working on the strategy. And so what we did as a strategic partner was just continue to be there ahead of the game, understanding the license consumption that was going to be down the pike, and then just making sure that Harish and his team were fully staffed, had all of the awareness of what was coming down the pike as far as product development, and then just making sure that we were there as a sounding board. We learn a lot from our clients too. So Harish, you've made it a very easy partnership along the way.
In fact, it's been a fantastic partnership across the board.
That's good. That's good to know. So, getting started sometimes it's difficult, right? So when you look at the buy-in that you got, was it more of a top-down buy-in? Is it a groundswell from the teams below? How did you get started with this?
So I think it's got to be a combination of both, right? The strategy that I like to use is what I call a top-down, bottoms-up. The reason I say that is some of the best ideas are going to come from bottoms-up, right? The people who are doing the work, who are feeling the pain or the joy of the work, right? Top-down is important because those folks have the cross-functional point of view in terms of, hey, these are big pain points for my business. So this is a bit of art and science in terms of trying to marry up the top-down vision to the bottoms-up ideas, right? So I think it's got to be both.
So did you see any more, from a top-down perspective, did you see any more traction from your executives once you started the program?
Absolutely. I think the traction came really about from helping them see that automation is not just about people productivity, right? It's about effectiveness. How can you do things faster and better? How can you do more with less? How can you improve data quality? That really unlocks what I call as big value versus people productivity is good, but it's very siloed. Right? It's very small compared to trying to reduce cycle time of, say, how do you set up an item faster, right? So I think once they saw that, clicked, and then the idea started flowing.
Gotcha. So obviously, the partner is a big part of the team here. So when you're working with flows, tell us how that teamwork fit in to get the value that they were looking for.
Right. So I think it's just important to note that, as a strategic partner, and all clients are different, right? Lowe's happens to be, and Harish, just because of his style of leadership, is a very driven and educationally savvy client. You don't always get that. So some of our partnerships amounts to us helping a little bit more than others. In this case, it was, like I said, important for us to always just bring to the table what competitors are doing. Don't get left behind. Let us help you remember the strategy, what the quarterly earnings reports are saying about your competitors, so that you can get back to automating and doing what you have to do to maintain and accelerate the program. So in this particular partnership, it was more of a relationship of equals, of really just bouncing off ideas and making sure that those touch points were always well understood. The other thing that Harish has just been so vital in is helping the rest of the intelligent automation community. And I think as a leader in this space, it's crucial and makes you very effective and makes you understand what it is that you need to do for your team when you're helping share the message to others. So he's been very integral in, participating in our podcast, doing things like this, because he understands that evangelizing, that this stuff isn't easy, but it can be done with the right partner and the right strategy in place, really helps kind of get everybody aligned to what's next, right? And we start with the RPA, move on to Gen AI. There'll be another shiny toy next year. And our job is to make sure that our clients stay abreast with the shiny toy that's coming, so that we're all on the same page.
If I can add on to that, one of the incredible value adds from Wonderbotz and Prism is the technology is great, right? But it's not about just the technology. It's about how are you driving value, right? What are the use cases and pain points, and the technology becomes an enabler, right? So one of my big learning from the automations that I've done is it's got to be business led and technology driven.
Yes.
Right. Now I'm not taking anything away from technology. Technology brings us the art of the possible, right? But it is always about solving a business problem.
That makes sense. So not everybody's at the same level you are. I mean, you've got a fairly large program, and you've been working for a while, and you're doing a lot of volume. How do you advise companies to start this process, to get rolling with it? Because it's not like tomorrow you're going to have a big program, a lot of stuff happening. How's that work for you?
Well, you can with the right partner, but I'll let him answer the question anyway.
I think partnerships is very important, right? Getting right people to help educate you, bring you up to speed on industry trends. But I'm going back to something I said earlier. It's about really understanding the business and where the value is, right? Starting small, creating an initial set of success. Once people see that, they want more, right? Then obviously it's being able to create an operating model that's super efficient. You can't promise something and not deliver, right? And once you deliver, it needs to be scalable, sustainable. So you need to be able to back up your product. Then last but not least, we had a fantastic team, right? Team that understood their domain, but also had great process mindset and enterprise mindset and a technology mindset, right? So when you marry up knowing the business with knowing the business process with good technology skills, magic happens.
So I want to key on one thing though. Where did the vision for all this originate? How does it populate?
So I think it's got to be beyond just automation. It's got to be about transformation, right? Transformation from the sense that this is a lever to drive growth, to improve your profitability. Because with better growth and improved profitability, you can reinvest that back into your automation program, reinvest it back into shareholder value, right? However you want to invest it. So I think it is thinking about not just automation as a tool, but this automation as a strategic initiative. Right?
Well, and as a framework, a lot of the use cases that you guys chose because of the patterns that you built with the SKU project, for example, you were able to use some reusable components to then accelerate your program further because you didn't have to rebuild. So it's not only getting strategic about the business challenges you're trying to solve, but how efficiently you're applying technology to solve them. So that you're not ending up with technical debt or a bunch of, licenses that are on the shelf not getting used.
So it's not all about licenses because we start talking about the technology. You just mentioned technology changes, and is going to be another shiny tool. Whatever it's going to be, it'll be another three-letter acronym, something in a year from now, right? How does a partner work with more clients to make sure that they're up to speed on all this stuff? Because it does change all the time, and you've got a business that you're running, and you may not have the opportunity to do that. How do you guys work together to do that?
So, like I mentioned, snackable content. I think all of us are just fatigued in learning. I am personally, being head of marketing for emerging technology, intelligent automation group. I need to know what's going on, what's happening at all times. And so we have a process of snackable content. So we get our clients' stories, our prospect stories, the pain points of the industry, and then what we learn from the analyst relations we have. And we make it into bite-sized content pieces, collaborate with our partners so that they can share it. I think our quarterly touch-ins, kind of, distribute some of that information. And then you always come to the table with new stuff for us too.
Yeah. So, Harish, again, the vision starts with your group, and then how do you get that vision across to other groups within the organization?
I a lot of road shows, right?
Okay.
It starts with the art of the possible. A lot of people don't know what IPA is, right? And there's also fear. One of the success stories that we've had is because of some of the use cases we put in place. It was less about the people. It's more about how do you improve the business. Once you get that in front of your leadership team, it opens their eyes for it.
So it sells itself when they see the value. Huh?
Absolutely.
I like to hear that.
I feel like that's like a great way to end this.
I would agree with that, man. Harish, thank you for giving us some insights as to how your organization is prospering using intelligent automation.
I think the industry is fast evolving, right? Especially with AI, Gen AI. One of the things that I like to think about is companies who are going to be successful next are the ones who are going to think about going from insights to action, right? If Gen AI is going to be great about creating those insights and decisions, but that by itself is not going to add value. How do you then convert them and use robotics or IPA behind the scenes?
Yeah.
Make those changes, right? And it's a cycle. Then how do you use the information that bots are generating back into the generative AI model, right? I think it's really about that.
I agree. Well, Harish, Paula, it was fantastic talking to you today. Thank you again for bringing up all this information you brought. Thank you for opening up a little bit more about how you guys have been successful. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Transform Now, the podcast from SS&C Blue Prism. You can find all of our episodes on your favorite podcast channel, as well as YouTube. To stay on top of the hottest topics in the world of intelligent automation, subscribe now. The future of work is here.